Hey y'all, I'm Flynt.
And I'm Lena.
Welcome back to Queer Dice Rolls, the podcast where two queer, neurodivergent, and chronically ill bards try working out their past, identities, and problems, one conversation at a time.
Join us as we once again fail our deception checks and share just a little too much.
Hi, Lena.
Hi, Flynt.
And hi to our guest. Hi, Bartis.
Hello.
We have Bartis with us once again. You might have heard them in side tracks, but Bartis is one of our fave DMs, my first DM, and one of our best friends.
And one of our best friends.
More importantly.
I'm here to give you advantage on your persuasion checks.
Oh my god, I just got so flustered. It's too much.
All right, so we like to start with kind of a warm-up question. We're going to talk a lot about the Dragonstunners today, but how did you get into TTRPGs?
This is a crazy story. There's a lot of context here that I'm going to have to skip over because it's a deep rabbit hole that isn't the point of your podcast. But the short story is, for a brief time, I was in a children's home in Lubbock, Texas, that was like a compound with 10 houses. And in one of the neighboring houses was a teenager who wanted to play D&D. And I was the only kid on the entire campus who would say yes. And so he was like, here's the rule book for D&D. It was a D&D. So this is a very different edition from what either of you know. Much closer to Pathfinder, but even before Pathfinder. So this is very different from Pathfinder even. So what it was just a bare bones set of tools about dungeoneering, basically. It was more interested in the weight and the cost of tools and equipment than it was the background of your character. And so I did get lost in the details, but immediately my mind went to, I'm supposed to make a character, so I'll make an entire party, and I will understand all of their relationships, like the wizard is in love with the cleric, and the tank is in love with the bard, and, all these little relationships and stories. And I come back to this young man and show him that, and he's like, what? No, here, just take the wizard, and I'm going to choose all your spells every level. You just tell me what you want to do when you get in a fight. And I was so disappointed. And he could tell. And then he tried to drag me through, back then, a Marvel superhero TTRPG with just me and him, where, again, he told me what my superpowers were, and it just wasn't my deal. I didn't get a chance to do anything else with TTRPG until high school, where I met Buck. And Buck and I met an amazing individual named Steven. And Steven showed us the World of Darkness rulebook for Mage the Ascension. And it lit a fire under us that led to every day at lunch, our small clique of weirdos would roleplay World of Darkness, or we would play Shadowrun or something every day.
So fun.
I wish I had had the confidence to do that in high school. My God.
I mean, it's hard to tell a story when you're playing for 30 minutes. It's literally just, what do we fight? Go, roll dice.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, we're going to get into some questions for you about the campaign and DMing. But first,
a word from our characters. Hi, I'm River. Shining River. River's fine. Welcome to my kitchen. Not my literal kitchen, you're not actually here, but here is a recipe I like. Oatmeal. I like to have it around my workouts. Usually make around a cup of oats. You can use quick oats or steel cut, whatever your preference is. Then I mix in some turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, some fresh ground peanut butter, and flax seeds, chia seeds, and sunflower seeds, about a tablespoon each. A little bit of salt, just a dash. Sometimes a little bit of protein powder if you want to add some extra protein in there too. and I mix that all up and then add usually some chopped up apple or maybe some strawberries or bananas on top, just to, make it kind of a sweet oatmeal without really any added sugar. But it's great for pre or post workout for me. So Mercutia tells me that the recipe will be on our link tree. What's a link tree? No, speak into the mic, face the mic. Oh, sorry. I didn't know we had a tree. No, back up. It's okay. Wrap it up. Just wrap it up. You're okay. Bye.
And we're back.
We're back.
Okay, so we invited you on because we love you, but also because we're in the middle of talking about the Dragon Stunners campaign and why it was so special to us, and why it was formative, outside of being Lena's first one, but just like how magical it was to actually get a group together that would play for multiple hours every week. I wanted to start with, because when you and I met, I talked about this on another episode. Buck was the one who was running games for us while we were at the con. Yeah. And when we started playing together, you were playing a cleric, and I was playing my Way of the Long Death monk for a while. And we switched. So what made you offer to DM for this game in particular?
It's my natural default. Like, when we met at the con, that was my birthday present to Buck. I flew him out to Seattle for ECCC and set him up in a Airbnb, and basically hung out with him every single day. I did what he wanted to do. So I wasn't going to step in and run a game on his birthday. I let him take the stage, because that's what he wanted to do. He is a Triple Crown Leo. But
yes, he is.
That is not my natural default. And I do prefer being in the DM seat because I like seeing the world go by in my head while y'all tell the story. It's amazing.
And you're very, very good at it. Very good at simulation. I'm curious. I don't think I ever asked you, like, what made you choose this setting? Like, because we did, what is the
You don't remember? Yeah, the Session 0 survey I sent out? I gave y'all several options, and this was the option everybody chose.
I remember, but, like, you gave us, I think, what?
Like I still have that survey. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's in Google.
Up.
Okay, let's pull it up.
What is the one that we landed on? I forget the name of it as well right now.
That's Tomb of Annihilation is what we
Tomb of Annihilation, that's right.
Not that we just got to the tomb and we're level 19.
I know. It's because the story was never about the Tomb of Annihilation. This is just the setting that we're walking across. All right, so if you didn't remember this, I shared this drive folder with everyone. So I have a D&D stuff drive folder, and I share these resources with y'all.
I remember.
And in that campaign, I called it The Lady in the Dungeon Heart because the Tomb of Annihilation is just the theater where I wanted to tell my own story. Each one of these options I sent to y'all, which I guess we should focus on that first. I'm going to pull up the Session 0 survey.
I remember there was like we talked about switching it up later of like having like fort building and like home base and stuff.
Yes. Well, because I'm looking back through my Bartis D&D Comcast email folder, and
Comcast.
I forgot about this, that every week you would give us a session feedback email too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that we could, oh my god, I miss it.
I miss it too. I genuinely, I remember there being a survey, but I have horrible memory from that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that was a lot of years ago now.
It was 2019.
I think so. I'm horrible with linear time.
I think it was 2020.
It was 2020 when we started this campaign.
Oh, I understand. Yes.
Guess I didn't actually keep that survey in that drive. I've got the template for it, but I don't have the survey I actually sent y'all with the options. I remember the top three still to this day, so I can recount those. But there were two others that I kind of had to scrape together as options that filled in other flavors of
Yes.
storytelling that I wasn't representing with the three I was interested in, if that made sense.
Yeah,
The,
makes sense.
oddly, Tomb of Annihilation and telling the story of like actual dungeon cores in the Forgotten Realms was my last choice personally. That was just the one that
Oh,
apparently
wow.
resonated with more of y'all. I had a different story I wanted to tell up on the Sword Coast at the far north of it, talking about another invasion of orcs, this time gray orcs with steampunk tech hitting the Forgotten Realms, where y'all would adventure and fight against an
Fantastic.
invasion of
Great.
orcs. And then there was another story I wanted to tell in the Anarok Desert where it was just pure lore diving into the realms.
I remember the
Where,
desert.
yeah, everything would just be exposing more about the millions of years of layers of things that have happened in this setting. So those were the top three I set out. And people like the idea of dungeon building and base building more than steampunk or lore.
Yeah, I think at the time, because we had just come off of Buck's game, which was very like, it was lore heavy.
Yeah,
I had made
he
a very
enjoyed that.
lore character.
Yeah.
But okay, that's really interesting. I remember the choices, but we didn't. You kind of obfuscated your story goals for each one, so it's really
Yes.
interesting to hear all these years later what the story goals
Well,
were.
I wasn't in the group when y'all chose that, so it makes sense that I wouldn't have known there were like other options. I just figured it was like this is the setting we're doing.
No,
right?
ours was so good because I had played for years, like we talked about in one of our other episodes, with other groups, and Bartis was the first one to actually implement like safety measures. And saying like something's yellow, to ask about what topics were okay, to ask like consent, essentially. And I loved that. Like Buck did a little bit of it, but like Bartis was very thorough.
Yeah, and now like in games I've played, like Bartis and I were in a in-person game with Buck, and Buck did like all those measures then too. It's just like, the evolution of what you do when you start a game to make everybody feel like it's a safe space, right?
Yeah.
So that it's great. Like because it was my first game, I was like, it felt more like theater, because theater has always been like that, right? Since I've been doing it, of like
it was brand new to
all
me,
the
and I was
consent.
30 something years old. Like I was like, you can say no and not just be subject to whatever these people want to do to your character. It was new.
That is something oddly that I picked up in fragments from many different places, and it just clicked with me as the millennial generation in Gen Z began exploring D&D. This was the beginning of the new recent D&D renaissance, and somehow it's already run to the end of that cycle and is in its fall. But
isn't that crazy?
I know, isn't it? Everything's just moving faster. But this was in the beginning. So Gen Z and the millennial generation were just beginning to explore D&D as a TTRPG option, because it was
you have to remember, I'm like an elder millennial, so like I'm on the edge of being a Gen X. I relate to a lot of things with like Gen X.
Yeah,
but
and I'm straight middle of the road Gen X, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because of my neurodivergence, or maybe because of my empathy, I really understand and align more with modern sensibilities about these things. So it just clicked with me, but I can look back now and see echoes of where this started in other places, like the role-playing muds and mucks that I played on the early internet in the late 90s. These were multi-user dungeons. That's a mud. Or multi-user.
Oh, thank you. I was fully
Yeah.
about to be like, can you please tell me what that is?
Yeah, Mud is a multi-user dungeon. A muck is just a subvariant because back then everybody was so excited with the internet that they wanted to make everything theirs, and they would make some subvariant of a popular
They're
thing and
very
call it
cool,
something else.
actually.
But
I
yes,
didn't have enough computer privileges to be able to enjoy MUDs, but
Are these things that are like that
still
are
around.
still being
Yeah.
made right now?
Yeah, think of it like a text-based video game that's online. It was the earliest form of an MMO with no graphics except for what could be drawn in ASCII using nothing but characters on the screen.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, think of it as like a choose your own adventure like
Yes.
book, but it's a program.
That's
It's interactive.
so cool.
So it would be room-based. You would walk into a room, even if it was outside. The outside was divided into areas, and you would walk into an area. There'd be a big text description of what's around you. There would be some special descriptions of items or creatures that you could see, and then you would have a prompt where you could enter what your character did, like look at your inventory, equip a weapon, attack that lion you see over there, search for hidden things. So it was like playing a text-based game, but it was all online running on a server somewhere.
Oh my god,
Mhm.
that sounds so fun.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to Lena when we were having like our other episode where we were talking about our starts with TTRPGs, of like how when I was in high school, like D&D was dying. Like it was pretty dead at that point, and it wasn't until I was in late college, like the 2010s, really, that it started to, like, you had Geek and Sundry, and you had like CR started doing things, and like all of that stuff just was 5e was not till after I moved out here.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So I
was
played
4th edition back
3.5
then.
and 4 and Pathfinder and stuff like that.
But I saw echoes of those safety tools and the shift in the culture, that there was no longer a automatic consensus of what was safe, even back in the mucks. The muck that I played the most was called Dragon's Fang, which was based on the Wheel of Time novels. So you were literally
Cool.
playing a channeler. And it was so awesome. The way they ran combat in that, there was an automatic combat system that you would play the game and fight mobs for experience to level up and get skills. But combat between player characters or combat with a storyteller running the scene was entirely different. You described your actions for a round, what you did, what you cast or wove, where you tried to use your sword, but you could not use any language that defined what happened to the other person's character. You could only say what you initiated, and they would get to react. That began to make me aware of consent in a roundabout way, is that kind of storytelling
Yeah,
in concert.
that makes sense. Like that's great because it's already constructing of like you have power over yourself, but not
Others.
It's almost like immediately correcting the problem of when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense with like how we experience how you DM, because a lot of the time you'll ask us, like in combat, how do we execute that ability, or like when this happens to you,
What does
like,
that look like?
yeah, what
That's
is
my
that,
favorite question.
what does that look like for you? And it also, like, I see that a lot in how CR like created the dagger heart system. It's like extreme amounts of consent with those kind of things.
It makes to like sorry, I lost my words for a second.
Thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, thoughts. Playing with you, Bartis, was one of the first times where I was like, this is what I wanted. Because you understood and described things in a way that was about how it felt, and nobody else wanted to take the time to like RP, or they wanted to skip those parts, right? Like they want to get to the part where we're using the mechanics or we're rolling the dice or whatever. And I'm like, that's where the story lives for me, is like, how do I feel right now? Like, what is it? Is it like hot and sticky? Like, is it like, what is this this jungle's like presence like?
What does it feel
like
to cast friend? not just say I cast friend.
Right, because like that was one of the first things that you did, because playing finesse at the time was the first time I played like a real, like a bard and a pure magic user, and you asking, what does it feel like for him, because he doesn't memorize spells. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to weave it the same way that this person does. And that's what really brought this to life for me and started making it so fulfilling and meaningful. And I want to get more into differences of like how you veered away from Tomb of Annihilation and things like that. But first,
a word from our characters.
Hey y'all, welcome to Quentin's Tea Time, where I drink tea and talk about being on HRT. Today, I'm drinking iced Riders Fuel from Friday Afternoon Tea. And guess what? It's good. It's a combination of black tea and pine smoke, which is apparently my favorite right now. Today I wanted to talk to y'all about the kind of exercises I've been doing. I know that might sound a little boring, but I used to be big into weightlifting and lifting really heavy. And when I started my transition, I put on weight really fast, got really tall. In fact, this week, I grew another inch. Difficult and exciting times. One of the most helpful things for me through this whole experience has been mobility exercises. Now, I know that that's usually used for people who are going through physical therapy or who have been hurt or elderly or in some other way ill, but with this much weight moving around my body and it changing dimension so much, I have to say the strength that I have acquired from doing some simple T-spine twists or doing the world's greatest stretch or some good mornings and core exercises and some simple, push-ups or trying to train to do pull-ups has been the most helpful thing for my everyday life. So if you're struggling too while you're doing your transition or recovering from something, I highly recommend some mobility exercises. Anyway, that's some things that work for me. I hope that helps some. Thanks for taking a break and sipping some tea with me. I'll see y'all next time. And we're back.
We're back.
So we voted unknowingly and chose Tomb of Annihilation. It is nothing like what was described to me from people who have played it before, from run-throughs that I've seen of it. You made it your own. What did you change and why?
That's a really great question. I feel like it dives into more than just my DM style because honestly, the writing style of the supplements has gotten different. I don't want to call it bad. These people put time and effort into making these books, and I appreciate that. But the end result is where in, say, third edition or Pathfinder or even AD&D, it would literally tell you these are the motivations of the bad guy. These are his
Yeah.
powers. These are the tricks he's going to try to pull. In this fifth edition book, it was, hey, look at these cool set piece areas you can go to. Look at all these neat NPCs in this city. Look at this stuff that is happening in the background, but we're going to tell you to you in the most vague terms. I knew I had to fill in the gaps, and I don't mind that. I like that. For the same reason I like rolling a character randomly. I like finding a narrative thread through disparate things because the weirder and farther apart they seem, the thread that connects them is suddenly much more powerful. It seems,
Yeah.
I don't want to say more realistic, but the strength of that connection becomes more noticeable the more unrelated those events are. And so I just wanted to weave a narrative thread through, and your characters were that thread for me. Like the first step was the book tells you, hey, get your party down to Chult. Doesn't matter how, just get them there. That's where the
Mm,
story starts. Do it. And I'm like, okay, well, most of the characters are up in the Sword Coast. Like Buck made Kayleen, and Kayleen's entire history is up in the main continent of Faerun, right around the Sword Coast area. So
yeah.
I had to find a way to get all of these really unique, amazing characters I couldn't wait to know more about that we all made in kind of one-on-one character
We
sessions
did. Yeah.
into the same place. So that was the first step. And I came up, thanks to some of the backstory that you made for Finesse Flint with the carnival, that gave me an easy in. I was like, okay, the carnival has a sponsor who needs to be in Chult, who's intertwined with what's happening in Chult. So that's why we made the lady and the one who gifted you, or gifted Finesse rather, Finesse's
Oh,
first sword.
yeah.
That lady, if you remember, gathered y'all on the docks at Baldur's
Yes.
Gate and teleported everyone.
I do. I remember so much. I don't remember much about my life, but I remember lots about this game.
Same, so same. So it's that need of weaving a narrative thread that I love. And interestingly, even though I do a lot of description from the feeling of things going on around your characters, I'm doing it, one, yes, because I do have roots in thinking and feeling that way, but more because I want to evince that in you as the players. Because what gives me my reward as feedback is when I don't have to prompt you for what doing magic looks and feels like for your character. You just tell me what that
Oh,
magic looks and feels like.
that's so cool because like I started like doing homework. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is gonna look like this because of these things that happened. That's so cool.
And that's the fun part of DMing for me, is just sitting back and having you describe the scene. I'm literally offloading the work and enjoying the show.
That's awesome.
But it is a creative outlet for me. Like, you can see that in some moments where I'll latch onto a specific part of somebody's background, and for your group, it really was the carnival. It was too easy to flesh that thing out heavily.
Oh, you did, and it's
Yeah,
beautiful
but
because
there was a
they're a bunch of weirdos.
they were, and there was nothing about them in the setting, so I could go hog wild within the reins of what you gave me to come up with whatever I needed and make it interesting at the same time.
You
But
even put the leader of the carnival was an old character of yours, right?
yes, yeah, I did want to do a tie-in just because Buck had tied in Damien in his campaign, which are some old characters from our time in high
Oh, that's
school.
right.
Yeah,
Those
Damien
were,
Marcades.
yeah, that was our first Mage the Ascension characters. He made Damien,
That's right.
and I made Tabia. And then we had some follow-up characters. He made Damien's brother, and
Oh,
I
he did.
made Tazium, who is Tabia's twin brother. So yeah, this was just fun to bring back cameo characters, even though they weren't the same character, to reimagine them in a different setting. But
Oh,
that,
so good.
even that went out of my own control. Like, this Tazium is totally different than any other Tazium I've ever put together. Your story has fully intertwined this character into itself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he's got a super cool build. Can you remind us like what his
Oh, we're just
Oh,
starting to discover for real because I don't
yeah.
know a lot about a lot of things.
Like, mechanically speaking, he is a pact of the Tome
Mhm.
Warlock and a wizard. So he's like a 18th level wizard with 2 levels of Pact of the Warlock. And narratively, it's because he had a vision in Candlekeep where he was studying as a child to
Of
become a
the author,
wizard.
right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
author's patron.
yeah, and he was given a vision of finesse and what that would do to the world, what was happening around finesse and the events in Chult. And he knew he had to interact. And I don't know how much I should spoil things for y'all because we still haven't finished that campaign.
No,
But there's
don't
deeper
spoil it.
I
layers,
want to know. I want to
and the
know so bad.
the author has intentions. I'll just put it that way.
The author's always
Yeah, so
intentions.
we didn't talk too much about that. Like, we didn't get into the campaign. I'm struggling to like figure out how we should talk about like the story, because from the people that we've started to like tease out about it, they're like, I really want to know just the story. So it's so tempting to just go through the whole thing.
It
But
would minorly spoil some things, but I could give you an idea of the mechanics of the story without spoiling the details of how your characters are interacting with it. But you would have some additional insight you would have to separate from your characters the next time you play.
Well, I'll tell so basically for the audience, like, you know that Mirth can't remember much from before he was 7 when the carnival picked him up, like before he was 6 or 7. But he's just discovering that the problem that he had as a child, which made Tazium come find him, of him just absorbing random magic around him, is a problem yet again. But we don't know why, which is, I think about it every day.
That's a safe secret, I think, because I think by now y'all have kind of figured this out, but nobody has come out and said it or explored it in game. But if you don't want me to even say safe secrets, I'll keep that tucked away.
Well, that's up to you, Lena. I'm pretty good from a DM perspective of being able to.
I mean, I can like if it's about the stuff with Mirth, I can separate it because it doesn't have anything to do with River.
Yeah.
No, this affects every single one of you in the party.
We're all special, remember?
No, I don't.
No, we are.
Even autistic cats can be special.
I'm so mad.
Wait, which one?
Oh my. I think I can handle it.
All right, she can handle it. She can handle it.
Because we're probably not going to be able, sadly, to play for like at least a little bit anyway. So then I'll be able to like have time to separate it. You know what I mean?
You'll forget.
Okay. So for people wanting to know what the narrative that you're trying to weave as a party was intended to be from my perspective, every time we sat down, this had to adjust because I follow y'all's lead. But if you remember, as we approached level 16 or 17, everyone was kind of like, I kind of want to take levels in this other class and I want to do this thing. And oh, what if we made our own classes and things? And it perfectly fell into the idea I had from the very beginning of the campaign. This was about base building, even though we still haven't gotten around to that. And also dungeon diving, which I apparently scared y'all a bit too much with that undead dungeon because y'all have refused to go back in one. But
no, we it's because we remember we avoided dungeons because I died. We went into the jungle.
Yeah. But the goal was, very nearly.
Let me die.
Yes, he did.
But the goal of all of these things happening in Cholt, when that's not the point of Tomb of Annihilation, was I wanted to tell a twist because I love dungeon core lit RPG. I really love the concept of a consciousness living in its own little bubble where it controls everything. I mean, obviously, that appeals to any neurodivergent, I think. Yep. But the beauty of it here is it also fits with the narrative that they tell you absolutely nothing about in the Tomb of Annihilation book, which is who built the Tomb of Annihilation. That is a big bad that is arcing over several campaign books in 5th edition, and they give you no real clarity of how they tie together. Even when they started trying to tie it together in the later books, it's still not very clear. So I decided to make it my own, and that's the reason the dungeon cores are appearing. It is the reason, even though you don't understand how, for that rainbow wave that made you see the zombie horde attacking Port. I just want to say Port. Yes, I wanted to say the nickname I have in my head of it, which is Port Nyan, and that was as far as I got. But yeah, Port Nyanzaru in all of that is tied into the same reason the dungeon cores are appearing. And all of that ties in to what my plans are for your characters at level 20 and beyond, which is a greater story of how my Forgotten Realms is transitioning beyond what's occurring to the official setting in 5th edition and D&D 1.
I want it so much.
Okay, so hear me out. What if we played this weekend?
I super understand. Unfortunately, my creative juices are so low. This talk does help, I will admit. And then I'm going to watch the news tonight and get super depressed.
Don't do that.
Don't watch the news. Then just go listen to one of our podcasts.
Yeah.
This is true.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to Queer Dice Rolls.
No, but see, we wanted to talk to you first because, like, I have DM'd and I've DM'd a few things, and I have like a method to the things that I do, but like, I'm very good at improv, which is what I'm learning from Lena. My strength is improv. I can react to whatever's happening and create in the simulation, like you're talking about, like people. I'm good at people, but you are just amazing at lore, and like I'm good at that when I'm writing. I'm trying to get better at it DMing, but you're just good at knowing. Like you set. It's almost like I imagine it like you set the knobs and the bells and the whistles, and like then you press play.
Yeah.
You just let things happen.
Yeah,
and
like
it's so cool.
Simulation is definitely like the best word that you use a lot about it, because it's like you set it up and then it goes and you can just watch it.
Mm-hmm. And I think
I don't have to know how your spell would affect the area or how your choices would impact, say, a group of NPCs, because in my head, they tell me how they react. It doesn't mean my own biases don't sink into that or whatnot, but I treat it a lot more like just running lots of masking events in parallel more than anything else, which tends to distance my personal opinions and character corruption away from these NPCs, which is what I want. And then do it enough. It did take some practice. It's not like I was amazing at it from the very first moment. It's more, this was something that I have a talent in doing because of my neurodivergence in life. And then I'm applying it in a new way. But y'all were busy learning your characters in the game at the same time. So my rough edges were easier to miss. And as we grew together, I could polish them rapidly just ahead of where you were about to step.
Yeah, and you were I love this game so much, and it really did change my life. One, learning about being neurodivergent, but also I made Mirth genderqueer, which I made Finesse genderqueer. We talked about that, but like I also made him trans mask without telling anybody, because like in other games I had played, it wasn't a secret.
Yeah.
It was just in other games I had played, nobody wanted to know shit like that.
Yeah, so it was just headcanon for you.
Yeah, it's just my own headcanon about it. Yeah. And you were so excited, I remember, because one of the other people in the carnival was also trans.
Yep.
And like we ended up coming up with mechanics for like the tea and stuff.
I love that combo, yeah.
I wrote a short story about it. It makes you cry. It's great. But character, like everybody in the carnival I could talk about forever, because you did so much work there, and you did so much work in making the carnival also fit with the rest of the Dragon Stunners, which was really cool, because everybody has ties and friends in the carnival, which is great for me, because I was like, yay. But I want to talk about L a little bit. So I haven't talked about so Mirtha's Sword College, And so, of course, Mirth has a sword, but Mirth was gifted a real sword for the first time at the beginning of this campaign and found out that it was sentient.
Mm-hmm.
And did the classic himbo talking to himself and nobody believing him for a while, which was great. But you made L, right?
Yes, I didn't make L. That's existing Forgotten Realms lore. Though I do admit that I have adjusted it to fit finesse as finesse grew and changed. So there's aspects of it that is very much more gender queer and appropriate for our story that other people, even maybe the original creator of Forgotten Realms, might not agree.
Yeah, he's very queer. Like I think L is what I wished I could have been before I started actually taking the hormones and like and finding out that I was more of a bear than a androgynous twink. But it's based on L Denser, right?
El Denser, correct. He is an ancient amethyst dragon that is currently layered, I believe, somewhere underwater deep or one of the Sword Coast cities. It's been a while since I've had to load this particular lore. But he is so old that his scales are no longer amethyst. They're starting to go white. And he spends all of his time using a unique spell that he created himself that transfers his soul into a sword. It's called Steel the Steel. And he can move his consciousness and his soul into a sword. And then he likes going out and finding adventurers and going on adventures with them.
Yeah. So Mirth was fun because he was very reluctant. He was like, I am just a juggler. I don't know why I'm here. And so to find out that he had like a ancient dragon on his hip was
intimidating
was
at first. Yeah. I love that Buck gave me a beautiful misdirection. He was like, oh my God, this is your warlock pet. That's your warlock patron.
That's right. Because the first time Elle spoke to me was when I died.
Okay.
Yep.
I have art of it, of like this giant purple eye and like me floating in front of it and be like, what? Because my death was accidental.
Yep. It was,
What
that
level
was
were
the
y'all at?
5. It was roughly, yeah, it was somewhere between 3 and 5. And they were simply trying to trek the jungle between Port Nyanzarar. That's still wrong.
But I got
Port Nyan.
Nyanzaru.
Yeah, Nyanzaru. And Fort Belarus.
Balarian?
Balarian. There you go.
I have no idea.
Why do you know
It's
this?
because I'm the note taker.
Yes.
I
This is why note takers are important.
It's a giant scorpion,
Mm-hmm.
and I happened to get critted when it stung me.
Yes. So the poison crit. And that crit for like 8d8 poison damage at level 5, which was more than twice poor Finesse's total HP, which is instant death.
Yeah, I instantly died because I was trying to protect Undril at the time, because I had we had a mechanic that was like the bardic ability of like interrupting someone with your words.
Cutting words?
Yeah, it was like cutting words, except it was a flourish.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
This is where we started coming up with your flourishes.
Yes.
Wait, were you guys really? I feel like I came in like at level 4 or something.
So it might have been 3.
Yeah, it might have been level 3 or 4 then.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
it was crazy.
No. Like it was low, but it wasn't like level 1 because we hadn't left and all that stuff.
It was like fairly recently when I started playing that had happened.
The timeline
it was like 2 days before.
The timeline was they were traveling to Fort Balarian, and that's when I went to the dentist and met you, Lena, and invited you to the game. And I wove you into the story at Fort Balarian as a wandering monk, coming in as a vendor with all these magic items to sell them there because you had just arrived from the Isle of the Dawn.
Yeah, we had only been there like a day.
Oh my God.
And but Finesse was just that fast. He was like, I need to make money. And so he like organized with like the bartender over there and was like, "Hey, do you mind if I perform?" And they were like, "As long as you don't take my tips, you know." Like,
yeah.
He's like, "Don't worry, I'm actually gonna earn you tips. So
yes, he
just
did.
calm down."
Yeah, that's where y'all
No,
really
he
got
died
to
like
start
the day
playing with it.
before, 2 days before, something like that.
Yeah, it was the second encounter y'all had, and
Yes.
then
Oh
there
my
was also
God.
someone with the Giralon zombies that thankfully Z let y'all avoid.
Hmm.
Thanks, Paladin.
But I think like right after that was when I met like the wee ones and my wisdom went up and stuff. But like you have to
Mhm.
remember, like I I rolled so strangely for finesse. He started with an 8 and a 9.
Oh,
He had a 8 uh
I think that was your
wisdom.
wisdom and a 9
Mhm.
He had an
intelligence.
8 wisdom and a 9 intelligence. He still has a 9 intelligence, but like we boosted his intelligence a little bit after that. But so
And y'all still haven't figured out what's going on the Isle of the Dawn Warrior.
no, we
That's
haven't.
still hidden away in our poor kitty's backstory.
I know. It's so funny because like we know more about at least his backstory now because of writing and everything, and since we've been playing. But now I'm like, it would be great to go and do his stuff.
Like it would be
I
great
did
to like
enjoy teasing y'all with like your young master foil from that
yeah.
same sect in both the cliff where you met the Aarakocra and in rescuing the princess at that place.
Oh, the princess.
Yeah, whatever. She's not that
Rip.
cool.
I love that. I love taking these little story beats from the actual campaign book and making them not wrong. It's still the same character as they describe it, but they give me so much narrative slack that I can turn her into a complete, not terror. What's the word I'm looking for? She's just so goddamn annoying.
Bitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, she's a child. Hold on.
She's a child. She's a little horny and a lot conceited.
Yeah, she had a thing for Mirth, and Mirth could entertain her to a point, and then was like, "I need a break. Someone, please. I cannot be on 24/7."
Okay, what do I do with this kid?
Yeah.
No, but like one of the things. Oh, go ahead.
I would have had a lot of fun turning her into a big bad if you had let her gotten kidnapped.
Oh no, it wasn't about to happen. So one of the things I really admire in your NPCs, and that I'm just constantly in awe of it, is that you are so good at making people, and you're so good at making people that sometimes really suck, but not in the same ways. Like, because a lot of times, like if somebody DMs all the time, there's like you even if they're pretty good at making people, they tend to make the same 5-6 people.
They have archetypes they make.
Yeah.
And you don't do that. And so we were constantly just
surprised. Like the adventurers that y'all escorted from the southern coast.
Oh, okay. So, audience, for context, so the princess was a spoiled brat, but she was a child, and she had been told that she was super, 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 super special her whole life. And Mirth is canonically extremely pretty, so like all of that was very understandable. When we were in the jungle, we met another group of adventurers that were like not having a good time, and Mirth is very kind and was trying to help them. And they ended up being, how would you describe that one man?
That man. He's the only one. He is legit the only one I can like picture or remember right now because of how much River was. He was so.
This is the first time Mirth was ever mean.
Yeah, because he was just a leech.
He was a leech. Yeah, he was a leech of a man that was
constantly sweating.
Yes, I remember. He wouldn't listen.
He wouldn't listen, and he like shouldn't have been there.
No.
right? Because he wasn't actually doing anything. He wasn't trying for anything. He had nothing to contribute. He was just a leech. A leech
He
is
just
a great
wanted the
word.
glory. Or whatever
Well,
the hell.
they were actually paid by the leader of Fort Balarian to be there, just like y'all.
That's right, because we didn't come back in the timeline they wanted us to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sent other people that sucked.
Yeah, because we didn't we didn't do what we were
What
supposed to do.
happened to them? I can't remember.
Well,
Y'all,
they were on their own because like they wouldn't leave the mansion because
Yeah.
Mirth can cast mansion, and we had to go because we had other people that were like depending on us, and we were on a timeline, and he wouldn't leave. So I dismissed the mansion while he was inside of it, which is the only thing Mirth has ever done that could kind of be considered rude.
Oh my god.
he had a really weird medieval name too, and I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I don't remember.
I could find it.
I just
right now.
remember like being so impressed because you'd done people that were like despicable or like evil in their
cartoonishly.
action.
Yeah.
But this was just a person that was just sucked, like,
Yeah.
but wasn't evil. They weren't bad. They just
Yeah.
sucked as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
I
like you don't
enjoyed
get many of those in like TTRPG games necessarily because it's so much more about like the big bad evil and not just like
Yes.
about how regular people just suck sometimes.
They just took advantage of Mirth, and he took advantage of Mirth to the point where Mirth noticed, which is hard.
Especially at that time, Mirth had just barely begun their journey of self-reflection.
Yes. So like the fact that he was like, you need to get out. No, but that I could talk about. We have so many cool NPCs, that you made for us. But
I would
really
say I
want to get
made with you. Like I would have never thought that NPC up just sitting here preparing. It only happened in the moment where I'm like, oh crap, they hit this random event with these people. I need to know who these people are. And my simulation gave me masks for them. And one of those masks was just an icky guy.
just an icky guy. But I want to get into a little bit more like deeper emotional questions.
Okay.
First,
a word from our characters. Hi there! Welcome to Les's Library of Likes, where Les, that's me, talks about stuff I really like right now. This week, I want to talk about Taskmaster. It's one of my favourite shows that's out right now. They just finished their 19th season. They've got seasons from the UK, those are my favourites. They've also got some from like New Zealand, yeah, but I haven't seen those yet. But it's a great show. It's all about how people solve different problems and different prompts, and I love that. I love to learn and to read and to figure out how people think. So it's fun to watch them try to solve all these things in different ways and think about how I might do it as well. But it's mostly very silly. It's usually 5 comedians who are like awesome, and they are all solving problems either together or solo. Sometimes they have group tasks, which are absolutely my favorite. But the solo ones are great too, and they usually do about 5 per episode, I think. But it's little short form things that you can watch just in the comfort of your home every week when you're trying to wind down. And okay, I'll talk to you later.
and we're back. And Lena is looking through a notebook. It's okay. Go sit down.
Yes, I was trying to look for the name of that NPC because it upsets me that we don't remember. But now
It upsets you that you don't remember the NPC you hate.
Oh, I remember him. I just don't remember his name.
I've never had a more queer urge to remember the name of someone I hate.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really upset because this is... Flynt knows about this. This is the journal I had when we started Voltaire and Welly's
Sweet
game.
Summer Child.
I know, and so I was like, I'm not really into D&D all the way yet, so I put everything in the same journal. And
It's 3 characters in the same journal.
but then after like a few months, I split them because I was like, I'm stupid. Anyway, please continue. Don't let my anger derail.
No, you'll please derail us in like a few minutes. So I wanted to kind of get into like, we talked a lot about this campaign being really meaningful to us. And why. What does the Dragonstunner campaign mean to you personally?
Oh man, it's a creative outlet. It's a whole nother world that I love because y'all love it. It's the same thing to me. It doesn't matter that I don't have a specific identity in that world. I'm everybody else. So in a way, it's kind of more impactful because I get to be Tazium when you're talking to him as Mirth and going, "Why the fuck are you like this?" And he's like, "I can't tell you." That's just as impactful to me as it is to be Zegasus for Lena and have the two of them running around like Jake and Finn in Adventure Time. You know?
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned Zegasus.
So Zegasus is Zaid, that's Z's paladin's steed. It's a Pegasus that Z named Zegasus because every character Z has starts with a Z.
Yeah.
And he's like River's autistic friend.
Yes.
Yep.
He taught him how to make snowcats. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! I just turned in the page in my journal where we came up with our with our group name.
Yes.
It's on 4/17 of indeterminate year. It's probably 2021.
Probably. Oh, that's almost like
2 years.
I was about to say.
It took us 2 years just to get off of the boat.
I think it was 2022.
Yeah, so 2 years to get off the boat.
I just got past the
R.I.P. to the boat.
Yeah, R.I.P. to the boat. I just got past the page where Z was playing like that game with the Afridi, so we weren't out of the volcano dungeon yet. So I'm a fine.
Yeah, so we were on. Close, though. We got so scared of the jungle because of Vanessa dying. Yeah. That we literally contracted a boat to take us down the entire island. And we were on that boat for months in real life.
Narratively speaking, that was a trap for me because I got to make a very interesting crew. I went out and found a supplement for getting people to Chult. That was the original purpose of that ship and that crew, was to sail people from the Sword Coast to Chult. And I was like, I just need a crew. And it only gave me the captain and the first mate. And I was like, I need a crew. By that point, I already knew how both of you liked to play D&D. And I knew these characters needed to have personalities or you would dig and I wouldn't have an answer. So I randomly rolled their basic stats and personality traits using a generator, and then came up with narrative threads for why those random values made sense to them, which made some incredibly interesting characters, like that freaking half-giant sailor woman whose name is just Skywalker. The fact that it randomly made her name Skywalker was already weird, and it was fun coming up with the rest of the reasons for her backstory.
Such a cool crew.
But it ended up giving me too much to work with, and y'all got lost in those stories. So I had to start squeezing in other things from the lore of the campaign, like the dragon turtle at the bay that y'all saw, and then managed to scavenge a young one. And then also the Sohn sisters. I had to start bringing something else from the actual campaign in. I was not aware that ants were a trigger for some of us at that time, so I apologize for that. Apparently, I'm a little too good at describing feeling when it comes to horror, too.
Oh, no, it was great. I love it. Give me more.
Also, it's my time to interject. I found his name.
What is his name?
His name is Beethan.
Beethan, yes! What a horrible name. Oh my god.
For a horrible person.
Also, so that I also found the page where you cast the Magnificent Mansion for the first time, and so I wrote all the descriptions.
I spent a year planning that
spell.
I
And I have like,
explicitly I explicitly put those little interjections of ruins in that dungeon so that you could find your last components.
It was so cool.
yeah, and I have like all these cute ass notes about like River's never seen snow. He's making us.
Yeah, well, we'll have to describe the inside. So the inside of the mansion is, the Mirth grew up in the carnival, which is a collection of caravans, very much like the Way of the Leaf people in like Wheel of Time, where it's just like very colorful collection of caravans, people of all different backgrounds, and some people like break off for the winter when they can't perform really. But most of them would go to the mountains, and they had a barn that they would stay by, and they would have their midwinter celebrations there. And so the inside of his magnificent mansion is those grounds, and everybody has their own caravan that's like unique to them in the party. And every time he casts it, it starts in the evening, right at dusk, and it just starts to snow. And by the time they wake up the next morning, there's a lot of snow on the ground. But there's like a lot more to it. But I planned everything really specifically so that everybody would be happy.
Yeah, it was great.
Like,
that was the first time I didn't even know that was a spell, right? And it's like
Yeah.
such a spell that I feel like people look forward to in their campaigns and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah, because if you understand the nature of the spell, like, 'cause everybody's like, "Oh, it's a wizard's tower, right?" Well, it
No.
can be, but it's really just a blank slate that's so big, it takes up so much like square footage, and you have invisible like servants, unseen servants and stuff that help, but it's really whatever you can imagine. So
Yeah.
that was one of my like favorite things. I love, giving my friends gifts, and that's what I did with that. What are your favorite? Do you have any favorite moments from the game, Bartis?
Besides making beefin.
I mean, those kind of moments really are quite high in my list of favorites, is getting to see what my own creativity draws out to be able to interact with y'all and pull y'all deeper into the story is a surprise to me too sometimes. Undril is a good example of that.
Oh.
Undril in the base story is a half-orc paladin. She's half-orc. She is strength incarnate, and she's supposed to lead you to one of the first quest areas near Port Nyanzaru. Now I'm starting to get the mouth movements correct for the things in my head. But y'all told a totally different story with her. That's where y'all were heading out from Fort Balarian, or rather, no, this was even before Lena joined, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was
right
from Port
outside the
Nyanzaru.
gates.
We met her at the carnival's first performance,
right after the giant rainbow wave on the walls.
Yes,
that rainbow wave changed her. What the event y'all still haven't uncovered behind that changed her to just a straight human, and then worse, swapped her strength and charisma. And for the first time in her life, this was me giving basically Finesse another outlet for the story you wanted to tell. And that surprised me. It's still one of my favorite moments because of it, because she became a beloved character NPC for the party. And it gave me a way to like discover my own creativity, because I hadn't even thought of this. I was going to have actually Undril leading another adventurer party, almost being a foil to y'all's as you were going into the dungeons to see who could discover the secrets first, but y'all were getting totally distracted away from the dungeons. So I tried to draw you back in, and I was like, I can also kind of tell a story that I think Flynt would like here. And so I changed her race. This event, that rainbow wave, completely changed her. And as a result, she was overwhelmed for the first time in her life with typical female emotion. She had never really experienced it like that before. Being half-orc, she was able to be a lot more masculine. And so her journey, her emotional journey, wanting to both be paladin-like and be there for others, was also kind of tied up in her going, what the fuck is going on? I don't understand any of this. I don't understand my emotions. Where's my muscles? Normally, I would
Yeah.
just smash this scorpion trying to attack people I care for and it'd be over. And instead, she's having to sit there and defend and fail. So it was an interesting
He
counterpoint
almost died. That's
that,
why
yeah, I enjoyed telling it that way. And so if I had to pick a favorite, I'd say that would be one of them. Though, I mean, I'm fudging. There's too many to really pick one.
I didn't know that about Undril. That's so cool.
Why don't say more? Say more of them. Pick more. Tell
Give
us
us
more.
more.
They don't have to be
More of
ranked
them?
like correctly or
Okay.
anything, but like other favorite things that you can think of.
Other favorite things? Safety's third. That caught everybody by surprise. The first time you met one of the dwarves from the southern camp, and
Hmm.
before you went into the fire dungeon, and he was digging, and the big beefy female blacksmith one told you go find him. I'm not sure he's okay. Please go make sure he's safe. And y'all went through the tunnels and found him, and he was chipping away at this stone he couldn't get through. That when you had your character, Lena, examine it, you could feel key in the stone, and the stone felt more real to finesse than it should. And y'all didn't know how to understand that. And then he tried out the new pickaxe you brought him that was made out of adamantium, and he said, "Oh, safety third," and he pulled a coconut out and put it on his head. You all started laughing. That's definitely one of my top moments.
I forgot about that fully. That's so funny.
I remembered safety third. I remembered a coconut and safety third, and I was like, why is there a coconut? Oh my god,
We should. That's a cute like. I want to make a pin.
I want to
of
make a
that.
sticker.
Yeah, like a sticker or a pin of like it says safety third and a coconut on the S.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. Do you have any more that you would like to share?
Oh, so many. I did enjoy that the dungeon core of the fire dungeon could not communicate to y'all. It was trying to bribe you to get you to go away, and y'all were like, "Nope," and just decimated the place and destroyed the entire dungeon. That was
Yeah.
amazing. I also,
I almost made a deal with a demon.
yeah, and you also abandoned that poor little Kip heart. That's totally what it was in my head. It was Kip
Shut
in
up.
that heart.
It's not my
In that heart.
fault.
For those who don't follow us on Instagram, Kip is our cute little dog.
Yeah, it was like a sentient harp, and like Mirth actually knows how to play a lot of instruments, and was so excited to find it. But then we had to run, and at the time, Zaid is a halfling, so Zaid is way slower than the rest of us because everybody else had ways to up their speed, and so I couldn't carry the harp and Zaid,
yeah.
so
You had to leave the harp.
I left the harp, and I felt bad and still do.
Another very top moment for me isn't really something y'all experienced, though I did get to eventually share it with you and Z, I think, Flint. I don't know if you were on that call, Lena, because I think Flint and Z were asking me something and it just came up and I showed them Dungeon Alchemist. But I spent 2.5 months making that undead dungeon. The second floor rendered in 3D for everything, all the traps.
I need to go back.
All the monsters, everything, that whole map, I made it in Dungeon Alchemist and then like kitted it out in Foundry so that everything was automated. I'm really proud of that dungeon and like for specific moments out of it. One, that I could make traps that would shake even your uncontrollably powerful characters, because by that point, y'all were already starting to get really strong. And two, because of little moments like the secret door that Buck uncovered, where it was a statue that was partway through the somatic components of the spell open, and he figured out how to just move the wrist of the statue to do the rest of the somatic component. That was a really big puzzle. Yeah, those little moments of creativity and detail mean something to me too. Even though I'm the one suddenly seeing it in my head and sharing it with you, it's a surprise to me.
That was a very cool dungeon. I wish that we hadn't been scared off. Like we were just so skittish, even with how powerful we were. We're such a skittish party.
I know they are.
True. But y'all gave me an amazing story beat with that. You changed my world with that choice. That core is now in the hands of a trio of Draco Liches, and they will be coming back in for Kayleen's post level 20 storyline.
Amazing. Don't you remember they flew away?
Yes. I do now. Just
you
like
were
the
like,
word
what does that
Draco
even
Lich.
mean? Where are they going? I'm like,
Yep.
they don't know yet.
Were there any because we don't, I know that like I talk out after like on our kind of our aftercare sessions after a game. I talk about emotional moments for me. Like, are there any like really deeply emotionally impactful moments for you, or anything you learned about yourself while we played this campaign?
Oh, that's tough. There's lots of little moments of those kinds of realizations, so it's hard to zero in on a epiphany like moment, especially now that we're several years removed from the interactions, which means our natural neurodivergences start burying them.
Yeah.
I want to say primarily it was a realization about the interactions between Tasium and Mirth, where I thought it would be just nice narrative prodding. And in the conversation that you had Mirth have with Tasium on top of the plateau of the Aarakocra, it was more like, why are you like this, Dad? Why are you hiding these secrets? Why can't you just tell me the truth? And I was like, whoa, that's pretty close to my whole character sheet discussion we just had about, deception and keeping things hidden and compartmentalized correctly and everything. I was like, there's a little bit too much of me leaking
Did I
into
snipe?
Tasium here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big self snipe.
Yeah, I remember that moment because like it was a very like snipe moment for me too, even though like I was being Mirth. My confusion and like stupidity, quote unquote, in the world of like neurotypicals is I find it confusing that everyone is deceptive and lies all the time. And so like I remember that. That's a moment I think about a lot too. I didn't realize it impacted you so much.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought Mirth was just going to be like, hey, give me help. And it ended up turning into a much more emotional conversation. It impacted Tasium, which in turn impacted me. That snipe effect, as I think Brennan correctly describes it.
Yes, yeah. He's like, whoa, no, that's just how things are. Whoa.
Whoa,
Yeah, because like I
what do
remember
you
in that
mean?
conversation, I got caught up. Like I was like, he's very lost. He still is right now because
Yeah.
he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand anything that's happening to him. He doesn't want to be powerful. He thought he knew who his family was, and he thought he knew who, like, because he thinks of Tasium as a dad, and he found out Tasium didn't think of him as a kid, as his like child. And so in that moment, like he was just like, why are you like, why have you been lying to me? Why do you even care about me? Which was something that I was, because at the time I was also going through all of that was the separation from my family was happening.
Yes.
So I think that was being reflected in what Mirth was experiencing. But
what I love about this kind of role play is you can safely explore those emotions, even if it comes as a surprise like this. It doesn't have to be all just laughs. It can be dramatic moments that are tense or even uncomfortable, as long as everybody's willing to work through them. Now you've suddenly discovered even rudimentary tools to do that in your real life.
yes. And like I think it's something that we talk about a lot is the trust. Like
Yeah.
we were spending time together being make-believe characters for like 4 to 8 hours a week, but
Sometimes 12.
but we the amount of trust that we all have for each other is something I don't think that I could replicate in real life.
Yeah, and it
Because of
comes
that.
from those nights and weekends.
Mm-hmm. It just, you can't help but put so much of yourself into these people and get sniped from a lot.
Yeah, it's a bigger door.
A much bigger door, yeah.
Yeah, it ain't a window no more. It's a door.
Well, and man, you shared so much cool stuff. I guess my last question is like, what do you miss the most about the campaign?
I mean, getting to see your characters do crazy shit, that's what I love. Getting
Jump off
to
cliffs.
experience that world. I literally cannot just sit down and look at the books and get the same simulation going.
Yeah.
My simulation is static without y'all being there to interact with it. So for me, the only way I get to experience that world either is when you're there. That's what I miss.
Yeah, we miss it. We miss it too. Hopefully my book will reflect some
Hell yeah.
portion of that. Because like the first one's going to be about like far future, but I want to eventually, when I get better at this, be able to like write a book together. It would be fun. But thank you so much for talking to us today, Bartis. This was great.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure we'll have you back, and it would be really fun to talk to everybody who wants to about this campaign, or I'm sure we could have you back to talk about Flynt's campaign.
Oh, yes.
Talk about all the pirates.
But we'll definitely be hearing from you again. Thank you so much. We'll be back with what we're going to talk about next time. But first,
a word from our characters. Love this show? Of course you do. Want to learn more? I mean, who wouldn't? Well, you've come to the right bard. This is Mercutia's Market with your host, me, Mercutia Claudius Titania Banquo Ulysses Falstaff. And yes, I did make the name myself. If you have questions for your wonderful hosts or me, or anyone else you've heard on the podcast, but mostly me, email us at queerdicerolls, that's ROLES, at Obroris, that's OBRORIS, archives.com. If you wish, you can send these poor, tired queers the funds for their iced oat lattes through our Ko-fi, Queer Dice Rolls. Be sure to follow us on all your favorite platforms. If you'd like to peruse these or any other links, check out our link tree. This week, we want to thank Bartis for joining us on the show again, and for bringing us all together with their beautiful storytelling. You're gorgeous, and we love you. That's all for now, but I'll be back next week. Ta-ta! You've been listening to Queer Dice Rolls with Flynt and Lena.
What's your favorite moment or NPC from your campaign? Share your gaming stories with us.
Don't forget to send us a message on Instagram or Buzzsprout, and you might hear from us in a future episode.
Our exploration of the Dragon Stunners campaign will continue with more player interviews and character sheets.
We'll be back next week, but until then, take this inspiration die, just in case.
Bye, y'all.